Hello, thank you for taking a moment to watch this video, and on this particular training I want to talk to you about a feature in the system that actually allows you to track your leads based off of the source they're coming from, so that you can start to identify which leads are producing the best results, so that you can focus your time and energy and money, more importantly, right, on those lead sources that perform the best, right? So the first thing I want to show you regarding this feature is how do you create a lead source within PhoneBurner. So within your account, you're going to click on the settings menu in the upper right-hand portion of the page and go to Contact Settings. From the Contact Settings page, over on the left-hand side, you're going to click on Lead Source. Here on the Lead Source page, you're going to be able to add as many lead sources as you want or need to your account. Here you can see I've already added 2 lead sources, Vendor 1 and Vendor 2. I know, super creative. Obviously, when you're creating sources, you're probably going to want to name them based off of where you're getting the leads from. Now, it's really easy to create a source. You just click on Add Lead Source, put in the name, and give it a little description. Once you do that, they're going to be listed as a lead source within your account. Now, once you've created a lead source, how do you take advantage of it? What do you do with that? Let me show you. Whenever you import contacts after you've created a lead source, you'll be able to assign a lead source to the data that you import. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Import. Let's go ahead and grab a file. Once you've selected the file that you want to import, you're going to map it out like you would any other file, right? You're going to map the name and the phone number and all of that good stuff. I'm not going to go through that with you here. We're going to go to the next. And on this step is where you can assign a lead source. Obviously, you're going to choose a specific folder to put it in. I'm just going to throw it in my contacts folder. And then you'll see this option right down here called lead source. Any lead source you create will be listed here. So I'm going to go ahead and choose my vendor 1, for example. Once I've selected the vendor, I go ahead and hit the next, and I import. And that's it. That's how easy it is to import contacts and assign them to a lead source. But now that you've added data, now that you've imported your contacts with a lead source, what else can you do with it? Where else are you going to see this lead source, right? So let's jump over to Contacts, and let's go to our Contacts folder. And here you're going to see a list of contacts that I've imported. Let's go ahead and switch it to sort by date imported, date added. And you'll see here are the ones that I just imported with my vendor source 1. Now, as you can see here, I'm viewing the source in this layout. If you haven't played around with layouts before, you can create custom layouts within your PhoneBurner account. And when you're creating a layout, one of the data points that you can include in this layout is the option to include source. So as you can see here, I've done that already. And so you can do that when you're customizing your PhoneBurner account. So when you're looking at a list of contacts, maybe you're an appointment setter and you're out there booking appointments. When you go to your appointment scheduled folder, and you want to see which lead vendor or which source is producing the best results for you, you can add that to the layout and you can quickly scan through here and see which one has produced the best results for you. Now, you may have just noticed that if you import contacts without a lead source, they're just going to have a source of import. Super generic, right? Now, on top of being able to add the source to a layout, you can also take advantage of the Advanced Search tool within PhoneBurner. So I'm going to click on this Advanced Search menu right here. I'm going to close the Personal Information section. I'm going to open up Management Information. From here, you'll see an option titled Source. And you'll see that I've got a few sources in here, Vendor 1 and Vendor 2, which are the ones I created using the Lead Source tool. But I've also got one in here called Lead Force. This happens to be a lead vendor that has the ability to deliver leads directly to the PhoneBurner system. There's quite a few lead vendors out there that we've worked with over the years that have the ability to deliver leads directly to PhoneBurner members. And each one of them, whenever they push data into PhoneBurner, will automatically have a source applied. But what this does is it allows you to search for contacts based off of lead source. So let's say, for example, I want to find all of the contacts with a vendor 1 source that I called this week. So the last time I called them was between April 11th and April 15th. And apply. And I booked an appointment. So I can hit search, and that'll give me a specific list of contacts that I called this week that I booked an appointment with from a specific lead source. I had 3 of those from vendor 1. Now I can go and do the same thing only for vendor 2 and compare them. Oh, look at that. I had 5 appointments booked from vendor 2. So you can see by adding lead sources, you're able to not only see what source they came from when you're looking at the contacts or add it to the view, but you can also use the advanced search to identify which of your contacts that you've recently called or ever called or never called based off of source. Now, if you're a team, if you're an admin running a team, then you have additional reporting tools. So we're going to jump over to the Team tab. We're going to go to the Report section, and we have a couple options in here that you'll want to know about. The first option is in the Standard Reports. You have this Leads by Source option right here. This Leads by Source is going to tell you how many leads have been added to your account during whatever date range we've got selected here. So I've got, it looks like the last 30 days. So within the last 30 days, I've had 1,991 records come from vendor 2, 76 that have come from just an import without a vendor, and 74 from vendor 1. Now another option is a custom report, and you can create as many custom reports as you'd like, but I've already created a custom report here called Source. This allows me to get a breakdown not of how many records were added to the system during a specific date range from that source, but to actually allow me to track how many calls were made to a specific source, how many people were talked to from a specific source, with the outcomes of those calls. So here, for example, and this is looking at just yesterday, let's look at custom date range. Let's go from, let's say, Monday to Friday and apply. And here you can see it's broken down by vendor and all of the activity done to the leads that came from each of those sources. So I'm able to track calls and talks and appointments and voicemails and follow-ups and emails and all of that good stuff broken down by vendor as opposed to broken down by specific users. What did a specific team member of mine do? I'm not looking for. Right now I want to compare vendors, right? Which lead source is producing the best for me? And so it's super easy to create these reports. So if I click on Add Report, I'm going to create a new report. New source report, and then you'll see right here where it says Type, choose Source Summary, and Save. Once I've saved that report, now I can choose what fields I want to track in this source report. So by default, it's going to track how many calls were made to each of the contacts with each of the different sources, talks, average talk time, and emails. Maybe I don't care about average talk time. Maybe I do. Maybe I don't care about emails. Maybe I do. You can delete any of these that you don't want, and you can add additional fields. So let's click on Add a New Field. And right here where it says Type, I can choose Dispositions if I want to track specific call outcomes by source. So in this particular case, I might want to know how many appointments were booked. And then I can go ahead and save that. Or maybe I want to track, let's go check out calculations. Maybe I want to track the percentage of connected calls based off of each source, right? Percent connected, hit save. And so you get the idea. You can create this custom report. You can add a bunch of data points. I'm not going to go in there and look at every data point with you. You can obviously go in and explore that. But let's go back and take a look at that new source report that we just created. So let's choose a specific date range. Let's go ahead and do the last week like we did before, apply. And here you can see percentage of connected calls for vendor 2 is 25% and vendor 1 is 31%. So this really starts to help you identify which vendor, which lead source is outperforming the others. So now you can start to make better investments in the different lead sources that you're working with. So anyway, I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video with me, and happy dialing.